Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sarah Newman, and I'm really looking forward to showing you this gorgeous set from our friends at Prima called the Aquarelle Dreams Collection. This set is so pretty, and I just can't wait to share it with you. So let's take a look. We can begin with our 6x6 paper pad. Now this contains 30 sheets in total. You'll have 5 sheets each of 6 different designs, and let's just take a peek at these beautiful papers. So as you can see, lots of soft collage florals on here. You've got some dragonflies, you'll have butterflies as well, pinks and purples with some hints of teal. Really versatile color palette here, and they'll just go beautifully for whatever card projects you're working on. There you can see some more of that watercolor design on there. Gorgeous, absolutely stunning. So 30 sheets in there. Then to go along, you also have a pack of coordinating rub-ons. So these rub-on sheets are quite large, so I'm going to try and show you as much as I can. So there's one. Here's another one. Nice large sentiments on here, great for your card focals. So you've got these 3 sheets in that collection. And then you've also got, this is really nice, your handy little rub-on applicator tool. So you've got that included as well. Then we also have a pack of 68 ephemera images. Now you've got 2 of each design in here, and I've gone ahead and taken them out of the package and just wanted to show those to you on here. So again, you can see some nice large elements as well as some tiny ones in here too. And again, perfectly coordinating with all of those papers. I just love these 2 especially. I think those 2 are some of my favorites. Although it's hard to pick, they're absolutely beautiful. So those are all included in this little package here. And then finally, you'll have a pack of 8 handmade paper flowers. And I just had to get one out because I really wanted to touch it and feel it. And you can see in proportion to my hand, they're a nice substantial size. So these could be used as a card focal, a really nice element on any of your paper crafting projects. So a lot to play with today. Of course, everything is totally coordinated to make it easy to create beautiful projects. So today I'll share a few project ideas with you and some demos too. As you can see, we have a lot to explore today, and I am so glad that you're here. Come play with us. Let's begin with this card, which features all the supplies in today's collection, plus the trifold surprise cutting die. Now this die creates a really unique folded card that's also super easy to make and a lot of fun to receive. Okay, I'm going to set aside my card and we can take a look at the die and how to create the construction of this card. So you've got one die in the pack, and what I really like that Hot Off the Press always does, on the back of the package, they will always include your diagram here with your folding instructions. So as you can see here, there's an M, which will be your mountain fold, and a V, which indicates where you need to create a valley fold. And they also give you a project idea, so some instant inspiration and some written instructions here too. So they really do make it easy to create your folded cards. So let's take a look here. I've got the die itself. So it's one piece, really nice sturdy die, so super good quality. This is going to last you a long time. And you're going to have your cutting lines that's going around the outside edge that will cut the rectangular shape. Then you also have these lines in here, which are your folding lines. So not only will the die create the cut piece, it will also create the score lines in here so that you've got your mountain folds and your valley folds ready to go. And then when you die cut your piece, you will have something that looks like this. Now I just used regular white cardstock for this demo example. On my actual card project, I was using this beautiful cardstock collection. I really like this one called Teacups and Roses. And this is a 12 by 12 set. And I just really found all of the colors on here, especially the pinks and the blues, match the aquarelle colors really nicely. So I cut my main piece, my card base, from the 12 by 12 cardstock because that will fit. And then I'm ready to fold. So as you can see here, I've got my mountain fold, which is this peaky portion here, and then I've got my valley folds here. So just like it sounds, mountain and valley, and then you're ready to go. Now with my card, let me bring this in here again and we can take another look. You can see I've die cut this piece from that pink cardstock, but then I've also added some of the Aquarelle pattern paper here on the front. So an easy way to do this is to take your die and a piece of the 6x6 pattern paper and just die cut a portion of the die. So you can do that. You don't have to die cut the entire piece. And then I've got a piece that looks like this. So just a portion of that 6x6 paper. Then what I recommend you do is use a glue stick rather than double-sided tape to glue this on top of the card blank. So you fold it around here and then this piece will go here. And the reason I suggest using a glue stick rather than double-sided tape is because you can see how the paper going over this fold will shift a little bit, and a glue stick makes it easier for the paper to sort of settle in place and it won't tear or warp or buckle. So that's what I recommend there. If you want to create this folded area here with some pattern paper, that's one way to go. So a super simple way to get a beautiful folded card. Okay, now taking another look at this, I've got on the card front a large scalloped circle. Now this is a cutting die from Hot Off the Press, one of my favorites. I use it quite a lot. And I die cut some of the Aquarelle, the collage colored cardstock, and then just added the Dream rub-on on top. Now let's take a look at the rub-ons because these are a great way to personalize your cards. So we had 3 sheets of really gorgeous rub-on options, and I decided to demonstrate with this one because I think this is just so pretty. Now from the main sheet, I've snipped this out and I've kept the liner piece with the rub-on itself. So that just makes it easier to handle. I'll remove this piece and then I can kind of figure out where I might want this to go on my pattern paper. If I want it in the darker area, the lighter area, and then simply place this down and smooth it down. So this is being held in place really nicely. It won't be sliding around. And I do need to add a little bit of pressure to transfer that design onto the paper. Now in the rub-on set, you've got an applicator tool, and you're just going to use this to burnish that rub-on in place. So I'm holding it a bit at an angle and using some firm, even pressure here to transfer this. You don't need a whole lot of muscle to do this, but you do need to make sure that you get all of the edges and the borders here. And then we'll see how I've done. Just gently lift up a little corner of this, and you've probably heard me say this before, work slowly when you're peeling this back, because if there are areas that did not transfer, you can always place the transfer back down and continue burnishing. But I think I've got it all here. So there we go. Easy peasy. And now I've got this beautiful design on my pattern paper. And so that's what I've done here with the Dream, and just added this onto my collaged piece of pattern paper. I think that just looks absolutely beautiful and super simple to do. So after I applied the rub-on, I mounted the scallop circle onto a regular circle using foam tape, so a little bit more dimension, and then I glued it to the front panel of my folded card. Now 2 things to keep in mind, just as a reminder. First, it is great to have double-sided paper because a portion of this will show on the reverse side. So just keeping that in mind. And then second of all, you're definitely going to want to add your adhesive only on this side of the circle. So if you're like me and you tend to get a little overzealous sometimes with the adhesive and put it all over the back, just keep in mind that you will have this area here which will show the pattern paper, and you don't want it to have a sticky adhesive on there. So just 2 little reminders when you're putting that together. Now when I open the card, you can see that I've cut out one of these messages from the Aquarelle paper pack, And this says a dreamer, that's what she was. And I just thought that went really nicely with the main focal sentiment of the card here. And this is hidden when the card is closed, so it's kind of a nice surprise to see there. But you will see the butterfly die cut, and this is popped up on some foam tape. And then I've also got some other elements here. This is another die cut that's accenting the circle. One other thing that you probably have noticed are these big, beautiful paper flowers. Now, these are really easy to glue in place. I do recommend using the Cosmic acrylic glue for this. And my tip on this, when you've placed your flowers where you want them to go, grab an acrylic block. You may have some of these from your stamping stash, and place it on top while the glue is drying. The reason I like to use a clear acrylic block instead of like a book or a stack of magazines is that because it's clear, you can see to make sure that the flowers haven't shifted around. Sometimes with a wet adhesive, you put something on top and they'll move around, and then the glue will dry and it will be in a place that you don't really want the flower to be. So that's just my little tip, keeping an acrylic stamping block on top until the glue dries. So that is our first card. So easy to do, and I think a really nice way to combine some of these elements. Now with this card here, I also have some rub-ons, and in this case it's the wreath and the sentiment, and this is my main card focal. And I kept the rest of the card pretty simple. I covered the card front with some blue cardstock from the Teacups collection, and then added a patterned paper piece here in the center. I did some inking around the outside edges with my trusty Midas gold ink pad, so that's going to add a really nice kind of warm shadow effect around the outside edges here. And then I've also got a strip of pattern paper in the center. Now the pattern paper is 6 by 6 and my card is 6.5 inches tall. So I just cut this border in half where it will be hidden in the center by this card focal so that I have it extending top to bottom. Then I have another one of those beautiful paper flowers, and I've got a dragonfly cut out, and he's popped up a little bit on some foam tape there, so he's got some added dimension. Then for the card inside, I've got some more of this gorgeous pattern paper. I have another rub-on sentiment here, and then I've also got this beautiful little hummingbird die cut, as well as this vase that's just overlapping a little bit between that border here on my patterned papers. So two really fun and easy ways to combine your rub-ons and your flowers and your patterned papers. Let's take a look at some other projects too. This card is a really good example of how easily all the elements in this collection come together. So I've used this really gorgeous paper as my card background. I think this is probably one of my favorites from the collection. I just couldn't wait to use it. Now, because it has such a lovely collage style to it, and it's got lots of elements and images on here, I didn't have to add a whole lot to the front of my card. So what I've done is simply trimmed off this top piece and then glued it to the front of my card after inking the edges with my Midas Gold ink pad. Now, as with the previous card, this card base is 6.5 inches tall, so I get a nice white border at the top and the bottom because, of course, my Aquarelle pattern paper is 6 by 6 inches. Then I've added a couple of rub-ons on here. So this is almost going to be like a spot the difference exercise. I've got the beautiful rub-on down here at the bottom underneath this macrame hanger. Then I've also got this sweet little hummingbird here, which I've positioned right about here. And that's going to add another little pop of color. Then I've also got some foliage rub-ons. I've got one going on right here underneath this flower die cut, and I've got another larger piece here as well. Now with my die cuts, I've popped these two up on foam tape. So again, giving a little bit more dimension. Here's one of the die cuts that's just been glued flat onto the background paper. So again, I'm creating some depth and dimension, but it all blends in so beautifully with these gorgeous colors and that collaging on here. Now, with the card design, I really wanted to create sort of a frame around this focal element here which is why I've got my flower clusters going top and bottom on opposite corners, and why my hummingbird is facing into the center of the card rather than flying off off of one of the edges here. So everything is pointing into the center of the card, which helps to lead the viewer's eye into that center area there. Now you may also notice a little bit of sparkle on the die cuts. I'm going to angle this a little bit back and forth. Maybe you'll catch the light in here. And I've used some Frosty Sparkle Glitter Kiss here, top and bottom on these flowers. And that's just going to add a little hint of shine. So let me show you this. I love this stuff. It really adds a nice little touch of shimmer and shine, especially when you've got some soft pastel colors like we have today. Let me show you how I've done this. I'll bring in one of the die cut pieces, move aside my card here, and you can see that I've really used quite a lot of my Frosty Sparkle Glitter Kiss here and don't have a whole lot left over. So what I'm going to do is grab my mister bottle and just spritz in a little bit of water here. And I've got a damp paintbrush. I'm going to pick up some of this lovely medium here, and I can work straight from the jar, or I could also use, of course, my craft mat. So I'm just going to pick this up a little bit and simply paint it onto whatever area I want to have glittery and sparkly on my die cut. So I'm just kind of tapping this on here. You want this to be watery enough so that the medium will move around and not dry in big clumps. But you don't want to put in so much water that you're, flooding the piece. So start with a light touch and then see if you need to add some more. So then I've got my sparkly little piece here. Just need to let that dry before I add it onto my project. Now you can also add some of the Glitter Kiss onto those beautiful paper flowers. Now these also have kind of it almost looks like sugar, kind of edging the outside petals and some of the leaves. So there's already some glitter on here. But if you want to add more to the petals, same process, just pick up a little bit of this watery, slightly watery Glitter Kiss and tap this on here. And it doesn't take very long to dry. And if you realize after it's dried that you want to add a little bit more, you can definitely do that. I'm just going to kind of shuffle this in here. A little bit goes a long way. And let's see, I'll come in around here. And then there we go. So I've added even more sparkle and shine onto my beautiful sparkly flowers, handmade paper flowers. Really beautiful. I love these. I think they're just super versatile. Now let me go back to our card. I'll set aside my flower here carefully, and we can take a look at the inside. Now here I've got some more pattern paper. I've also got this dream die cut, and I've got the butterfly die cut here. I've added a little bit of that frosty sparkle on the butterfly as well. And then I've got two cutouts from the paper pack. Now our final project is a tag in a bag, and I think you guys probably know by now how much I love making these. Well, in this case, I've die cut the bag from the Teacups cardstock. So I've got light blue and dark blue, kind of depending on which side you're looking at. And then I've die cut a smaller piece of collage paper to fit inside the front panel here. So this is another one of my favorites from the collection, which is this watercolor stripes design. I think that's just really pretty. Of course, inking all of the edges with that Midas gold to give a little bit of a shadow effect here. And I applied the floral rub-on right onto that pattern paper and then added some more dimension by popping up some of the smaller die cuts with foam tape. And this wildly dreaming sentiment is also up on foam tape there too. I die cut the tag from a really gorgeous piece of collage pattern paper. Well, they're all gorgeous. It's hard to choose which one to use. I had to take a bit of time to play with the die shape to see which element of the pattern paper I wanted to use. Then I've added this fly rub-on here and the congratulations sticker, which is overlapping. And this is from the Tiny Words and Phrases Dazzle set, and that just fit in here perfectly. Now the flower has some glitter kiss applied for a little bit of extra sparkle. And of course that will just fit right in here. So this is with our tag in a bag cutting die set. And this is our final project of the day today, featuring the Aquarelle Dreams collection from our friends at Prima. I just had so much fun with this. I think you can tell so many different options and just a lot of fun to combine with dyes and with some of your other coloring mediums too. A big thank you to our friends at Prima, and a special thanks to you for joining me today. We're really glad you're here, and we're so happy that you're a part of the Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, just see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 new videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.